Good morning. Welcome to the Burgess-Shadbush Nature Center. My name is Miss Faith. For those of you who don't know me, I do nature tales here at the Nature Center. And today our book is Insect Detective. And the book is written by Steve Voake and it's illustrated by Charlotte Voake. Insect Detective. Right now, all around you, thousands of insects are doing strange and wonderful things, but you can't always see them right away. Sometimes you have to know where to look. There are more insects living in the world than all other animals put together, about 200 million insects for every single person. Listen, over by the fence. Can you hear a scratching sound? A wasp is scraping away at the post with her strong jaws. She's collecting wood. She mixes it into a soft pulp in her mouth. When she has enough, she will help other wasps build a nest out of paper. Wasps often collect different kinds of wood, which makes their nest look stripy, just like the insects who make them. Not all kinds of wasps live together, but many of them do. Insects that live together are called social insects. Ants always live together. They usually make their nests underground. Finding an ant nest is easy. First, find an ant and follow it. It might stop to chat with some other ants along the way. Ants can communicate by touching their antennae together. But after a while, the ant will head home and you'll be able to find out where it lives. Like all insects, ants have three main body parts: the abdomen, the thorax, and the head. Solitary bees live by themselves. Solitary means alone. This female solitary bee is busy collecting food from spring flowers. She'll store it in her tiny nest so that it will be ready for when her eggs hatch. All insects start life as an egg. Solitary bees make their nests in holes in ground, cracks in walls, or in tiny cavities that have been left by other insects. Many animals like to eat insects for dinner. So some insects use camouflage to blend in with their surroundings. Look at this crinkly brown leaf. Can you see a crinkly brown herald moth too? They often rest in trees during the day so that the birds won't see them. Insects have other ways of hiding too. See the squiggly lines on these leaves? They were made by a leaf miner caterpillar. A leaf miner protects itself by living between the top and the bottom layers of leaves, a bit like hiding in a sandwich. Lift up a stone and you might see an earwig scuttle out. They like to hide in the damp and the dark. The pinchers on the tips of their abdomens make them look kind of scary. But don't worry, they're completely harmless. Female earwigs are very good mothers. They work hard to keep their eggs clean, turning and washing them regularly. When the young hatch, their mothers bring them the food they will need until they're old enough to look after themselves. Of course, you might find some creatures under there that aren't insects: spiders, centipedes, woodlice, and slugs. And once I found a baby frog. It's easy to tell whether something is an insect or not. All you have to do is count the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it has 6 legs, it's an insect. If it doesn't, it isn't. So the spider has how many legs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're lucky, you might even find a colored ground beetle gleaming in the sunlight. It's like discovering a precious jewel. But ground beetles aren't just pretty to look at. They're excellent hunters too. At night, they go hunting for slugs and snails, which makes gardeners very happy. Perhaps the greatest insect hunter of all is the dragonfly. Even the name sounds fierce. But don't worry, they won't come chasing after you. Dragonflies are much more interested in things like flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. Some will even snatch a spider from its web. On a summer day, when the air is still, you can see their wings sparkling in the light as they hunt, twisting, diving, and plucking flies from the air. Dragonflies are fabulous flyers. They have 2 sets of powerful wings, which they can use to hover, change direction, and even fly backwards. It's hard to believe they started life in the water. Dragonfly nymphs are young, wingless versions of adult dragonflies. Dragonflies lay their eggs in ponds or slow-moving rivers where they hatch out into small nymphs. A nymph sheds its skin many times until it is fully grown. Finally, it will climb out of the water, rest on a stem of a plant. As dawn breaks, its skin splits open and a beautiful dragonfly emerges, unfolding its wings and drying itself in the sun. The special changes that take place in insect bodies are called metamorphosis. They happen in different ways as insects grow from eggs to an adult. Another insect that does that is butterflies. Sometimes when you think about these strange and wonderful things, moths hiding, ants talking, dragonflies changing, it's hard to believe they could really be true. But you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is open your door and step outside. Now, the end of the book says how to be an insect detective. Find out which beetles you have living near you by burying a jam jar into the ground. Any beetles walking over the top during the night will fall into your jar. But remember to check every morning and to let them go when you have finished looking at them. When it gets dark, you can put a camping light out, hang a white sheet, and this will attract moths, and you'll be able to get a really close look at them. You can also collect the seeds from nettle and also from milkweed and plant those in your garden. And caterpillars love those plants. If you want to encourage butterflies in your garden, especially the monarch, they love milkweed, so it's good to have that in your garden. Sometimes weeds are good to have. Try making a place for solitary bees to live. Rinse out an empty tin can and put some glue or melted wax in the bottom and fill it with drinking straws. Then hang the can and have it slightly pointing downward to prevent the rain from collecting. And we're going to do this as our craft today. And then it says here, flying can be hard work for bumblebees. If you see one crawling on the ground, it may have run out of energy. Mix some sugar and water in a teaspoon or tablespoon and give the bee a drink. It will soon be busy among the flowers again. Take a close look at picnic tables and fences or benches you see outside. If they have tiny lines in them, you'll know that wasps have been there before you. It says, in a hot, thundery weather, keep an eye out for swarming ants. When the temperature is just right, the young queen will be brought up to the surface where they will mate before flying away to start new colonies. And that's the end. Now we're ready. We're going to get started and we're going to do our insect detective craft. And we talked about doing the pollinator can. So this would be the example of it. And if you can see, it's kind of angled to the side. And this one I didn't actually wax them in there yet, but it's to give you an idea of how it looks. And what happens is those solitary bees will fly. They'll come in, they'll find these little holes, and they'll make a home in there, okay? And so what you're gonna start with is an empty can, a tin can. So this is a great recycling project as well. And you want to have an adult clean it out for you. And I don't want any kids sticking their hands in here because the edges can be sharp, okay? But this part also I'd say do this, have an adult do, but you can just take a sharp screw and poke 2 holes in the sides and 1 in the top. Now if you want to decorate it, you can decorate it. I didn't decorate this one because a lot of times when I decorate it, kids think that they have to do it exactly like mine, and they don't have to. So you can paint it with acrylic paints. You can take stickers and put stickers on it. You can do whatever you want to make it your. Okay. The important thing is once you've put those holes in, you're going to string through those holes, and you want to make sure that so that if it does rain, that the water falls down and doesn't go into the straws, because you don't want their homes to get wet, right? So what I did was I prefer to use plastic straws. I like to be environmentally conscious, and so I use paper straws. Okay, so you just gonna use paper straws. This particular can, a half a straw works perfect. So I just cut them in half and then put them inside. Before you finish it, the way to do this, just take some old candle wax. That candle doesn't light anymore, but you still have wax. You can melt that coat in the bottom here, and when you stick your straws in there, it's going to harden and in place. They won't fall out like that. Okay. If you want to use candle wax, what you can use is just take some Elmer's glue in there, straws on top, and you're going to have to wait for it to dry a while before you take it and hang. Okay, but it's a real simple project. It can encourage and other insects to come into your garden and eat your plants. And that's your craft for today.